Hello, everyone. After watching The Tale of Rose, and I was really impressed by Peng Guanying's portrayal of Zhuang Guodong. So, I decided to check out another one of his dramas. Have a crush on you. What does it feel like to secretly like someone? And how does it feel when you see the person you admire with someone else? The story begins with a girl's secret crush. Her name is Ruan Luzhen, a medical student. On the first day of school, among the crowd, she fell in love at first sight with him. His name is Ning Jiqian, a PhD student who is also serving as the counselor for Ruan Luzhen's class. When they first met, Ning Jiqian was impressed by Ruan Luzhen because of her excellent academic performance. Ruan Luzhen was delighted, as her first impression had been successful. During their first class, there was a bullfrog placed on the table. Ruan Luzhen had no idea how to handle it, staring at the bullfrog in front of her. After all, there's a first time for everything. Ning Jiqian took Ruan Luzhen's hand and guided her to touch the bullfrog directly, but she was so frightened that she fainted. Ning Jiqian then carried Ruan Luzhen to the infirmary. As she looked at his profile, she smiled. To help Ruan Luzhen pass the anatomy class, Ning Jiqian decided to help her overcome her inner fear. She leaped down from a height, an indescribable feeling for her. Looking back at Ning Jiqian, it turned out he was actually afraid of heights. After that, Ruan Luzhen admired Ning Jiqian more and more, and all her friends knew it. Whenever Ning Jiqian passed by, they would loudly announce that Ruan Luzhen liked him. They even sent Ruan Luzhen as their representative to invite Ning Jiqian to dinner. Ruan Luzhen went out of her way to style her hair for the occasion. Ning Jiqian noticed that something was different about Ruan Luzhen that night and casually mentioned it, making her even happier. Just then, Ning Jiqian received a phone call, saying he needed to step out to pick someone up and asked to add an extra chair. He soon returned, holding hands with his girlfriend. Ruan Luzhen was completely stunned. She had never seen any female friends around Ning Jiqian, so she hadn't anticipated that he already had a girlfriend. His girlfriend, Dong Miao Miao, had been studying for her master's degree in France and had just returned recently. Ruan Luzhen felt very down. Ning Jiqian called her to eat together, but she ignored him. When Ning Jiqian passed by on his bike and greeted her, she pretended to be reading. She decided it was time to end this one-sided crush. Ning Jiqian and Dong Miao Miao were about to get married. Ning Jiqian called his friends over to help clean the wedding room. Ruan Luzhen was one of them, and she was the most diligent. As the others left, Ruan Luzhen stayed behind, continuing to clean the bathroom. Time slowly crept to 4:10 p.m. when Ning Jiqian and Dong Miao Miao returned. Ruan Luzhen quickly hid in the bathroom. Ning Jiqian began happily talking to Dong Miao Miao about their future together, but Dong Miao Miao remained motionless, standing in silence. After a brief pause, she broke the silence and told Ning Jiqian that she wanted to break up. She had fallen in love with someone else, someone who could organize art exhibitions for her and help her achieve her dreams and ambitions. At that moment, love seemed like a cruel joke. Ning Jiqian was about to become a resident doctor, and he would only get busier, meaning the two of them were destined to drift apart. For Ruan Luzhen, was this scene more about sympathy than surprise? In a panic, she tore off her gloves and fled from Ning Jiqian's home. Later, Ning Jiqian went to a bar. Ruan Luzhen accompanied Ning Jiqian to the bar, and together they drank and talked about everything, feeling completely uninhibited. By the end of the night, Ning Jiqian had to carry the drunk Ruan Luzhen out of the bar. The next day, as they left the hotel, they were spotted by their friends. Rumors began to spread rapidly, with hurtful words even being posted on the door of Ruan Luzhen's dormitory. Ruan Luzhen's best friend, Tanya, was furious and wanted to defend her. However, Ruan Luzhen remained calm, only wanting to graduate without incident. But things took a turn when three people confronted Ruan Luzhen in the cafeteria, accusing her of shamelessly interfering in Ning Jiqian and Dong Miao Miao's relationship. Tanya couldn't stand it and threw a glass of water at them, followed by a slap. The conflict between the girls escalated quickly, with many students gathering around to watch. Ning Jiqian intervened, loudly reprimanding the inappropriate behavior before pulling Ruan Luzhen and Tanya away. He apologized to Ruan Luzhen, and she responded with a light-hearted smile. Looking at Ning Jiqian, Ruan Luzhen hesitated for a moment before tightly gripping her collar and confessing, "I like you." She took his hand and threw herself into his arms, holding him tightly. But does Ning Jiqian love Ruan Luzhen? That night, when Ruan Luzhen took the drunk Ning Jiqian home, she met his mother. His mother was an accomplished obstetrician-gynecologist who was about to leave for a medical aid mission in Africa. She had been trying to reach Ning Jiqian but couldn't, so she was relieved to have met Ruan Luzhen, who brought him home. They got along well. Before leaving, Ning Jiqian's mother expressed her regrets to him. She admitted that she hadn't been a good mother and hadn't given him a complete family. She hoped that Ning Jiqian could find love. She also mentioned how much she liked Ruan Luzhen, noting how caring she was. When Ning Jiqian first visited Ruan Luzhen's parents, as expected, They were immediately fond of him, tall, handsome, and charismatic. They quickly set a date for the wedding. Everything seemed perfect, sweet dates, wedding photo shoots, and all the joyful preparations. However, during this time, Dong Miao Miao asked to meet with Ruan Luzheng. Was it because she had seen through their relationship, or was it out of jealousy? She believed that in an unequal relationship, the one who would ultimately get hurt would be Ruan Luzheng. But Ruan Luzheng had already made up her mind about Ning Zhiqian, and Dong Miao Miao's words had no effect on her whatsoever. The day before the wedding, Ning Zhiqian was on duty at the hospital, which didn't bother Ruan Luzheng. She happily decorated the new home with Tanya. That evening, Ning Zhiqian hurriedly ended their phone call after a few words, leaving Ruan Luzheng feeling a bit lonely. She thought of Dong Miao Miao's words. The next morning, she rushed to the airport to tell Dong Miao Miao that they were neither deeply in love nor perfectly matched. In this world, there is no perfect love. At the wedding, Ruan Luzheng slowly walked toward Ning Zhiqian, and during the ring exchange and the sweet kiss that followed, her face radiated happiness. Ruan Luzheng had told Dong Miao Miao that she would love Ning Zhiqian with all her heart and that she would make sure Ning Zhiqian fell in love with her. Ruan Luzheng's love was indeed courageous. After the wedding, Ruan Luzheng realized that her heels had been rubbed raw. Ning Zhiqian brought out a first aid kit and gently applied medicine to her wounds. Ruan Luzheng beamed with joy, as if the pain had vanished. On their first night as newlyweds, Ruan Luzheng had some expectations. Ning Zhiqian was busy in the living room when his phone rang. The hospital informed him that he needed to return immediately for an emergency surgery. Ning Zhiqian quickly informed Ruan Luzheng before rushing out the door. However, Ruan Luzheng didn't fully hear what Ning Zhiqian said. She searched for him but couldn't find him, and when she called, there was no answer. Little did she know, Ning Zhiqian was in the hospital performing surgery. When he returned home and saw Ruan Luzheng asleep on the sofa, he felt a pang of guilt. After hearing his explanation, Ruan Luzheng's smile reappeared. She busied herself preparing breakfast for Ning Zhiqian, but when she brought it to him, she found he had already fallen asleep from exhaustion. She quietly covered him with a blanket and nestled beside him, as if to make up for the lost time from the previous night. Since their marriage, Ning Zhiqian had been so busy that they hadn't even had time for intimacy. One day, Ning Zhiqian finally had a break and stayed home to rest. Ruan Luzheng brought out a new set of nightwear and practiced poses in front of the mirror for a long time. Suddenly, the drowsy Ning Zhiqian noticed a long, sexy leg extending from behind the curtain, with a finger beckoning him to come closer. When he pulled back the curtain, he saw Ruan Luzheng in her nightwear, smiling so innocently that Ning Zhiqian's sleepiness vanished instantly. It seemed their relationship grew even closer. They planned a honeymoon trip to Africa, but halfway there, Ning Zhiqian received a call from the hospital. Though their honeymoon plans were ruined, Ruan Luzheng had no complaints and kept smiling throughout. Even when they were just cooking noodles together, Ruan Luzheng and Ning Zhiqian could share an intimate kiss. Ning Zhiqian was a resident doctor with a busy schedule. Ruan Luzheng devoted herself entirely to their family. She would always prepare meals and deliver them to the hospital as soon as they were ready, hoping that Ning Zhiqian could enjoy the food she made. In the beginning, both of them cherished this hard-earned care and sweetness. But over time, Ning Zhiqian started to feel pressure unintentionally. He knew that Ruan Luzheng loved him, and he couldn't bring himself to refuse her. However, Ruan Luzheng's overly selfless expressions of love made Ning Zhiqian feel overwhelmed, causing him to avoid her. That day, Ning Zhiqian had surgery that lasted late into the night, leaving him utterly exhausted. When he saw the meal Ruan Luzheng had delivered, he had no appetite at all. On his way home, as he passed by a trash bin, Ning Zhiqian threw away the untouched food. By coincidence, Ruan Luzheng happened to witness this. Ning Zhiqian apologized to her, and Ruan Luzheng said she understood, but she couldn't hold back her tears. She must have felt wronged. After all, she loved Ning Zhiqian so deeply. After this, they started spending less time talking to each other. Ning Zhiqian didn't know how to face Ruan Luzheng. Whenever he was at home, he would pretend to be busy with work. Their love grew heavier and heavier. Ning Zhiqian never forgot the birthdays of her family members, yet Ruan Luzheng always felt that something was missing. This made her wonder if Ning Zhiqian was merely trying to maintain the marriage. Tanya comforted Ruan Luzheng, saying that Ning Zhiqian encountered all sorts of people and situations at the hospital, and the stress was truly overwhelming. Ruan Luzheng couldn't help but feel sad that Ning Zhiqian never talked to her about these things at home. That night, it poured rain, and Ruan Luzheng saw Ning Zhiqian sitting in the car. She blamed Ning Zhiqian for not sharing his troubles with her. Ning Zhiqian said he didn't want to affect her graduate school exam preparations with these issues. Ruan Luzheng couldn't help but think that if it were Dong Miao Miao, Ning Zhiqian would definitely have shared everything. She felt very sad because, after all this time together, she had never heard Ning Zhiqian's inner thoughts. She went back to her parents' house to cool off. At the dinner table, she suddenly felt nauseous. She couldn't help but suspect that she might be pregnant. When Ning Zhiqian came to take her home, all her anger vanished the moment she saw him. She told him about the possible pregnancy. Ning Zhiqian was overjoyed and declined a great opportunity to study abroad. That night, Wan Liuzhen felt pain in her abdomen, and soon her period came. It turned out that the pregnancy was just a false alarm, and Ning Zhiqian felt a bit regretful. In the middle of the night, Wan Liuzhen woke up to find that Ning Zhiqian was not beside her. She found him sitting alone in a chair, staring blankly outside. Wan Liuzhen softly comforted him, trying to communicate with him, but Ning Zhiqian just wanted to be alone. What was he thinking? Ning Zhiqian quietly got up, packed his bags, and left the house. When Wan Liuzhen woke up and saw the message Ning Zhiqian had left, she realized that he had gone abroad for further studies. His time abroad was busy, while Wan Liuzhen, alone at home, often texted Ning Zhiqian. However, he rarely replied. One day, Wan Liuzhen had severe stomach pain and called an ambulance. Before and after the surgery, she called Ning Zhiqian several times, but none of the calls went through. Finally, Ning Zhiqian called back. Wan Liuzhen held back her tears and suppressed her longing, choosing not to tell Ning Zhiqian about the surgery. She sat alone, watching TV, feeling increasingly uneasy as Ning Zhiqian continued to rarely respond to her messages. She decided to surprise him by flying abroad to see him. However, Ning Zhiqian told her over the phone not to come, citing his busy schedule. Wan Liuzhen bought a bouquet of flowers and went to the laboratory, only to see Ning Zhiqian surrounded by many people, looking very happy, happier than she had ever seen him before. In fact, Ning Zhiqian had just learned that they had passed all their assessments, and it was a moment of victory and joy. Unaware of this, Wan Liuzhen misunderstood the situation. Tears welled up in her eyes. Ning Zhiqian had always seemed exhausted around her, yet today she saw him smiling so brightly. Wan Liuzhen threw the flowers into the trash, picked up her suitcase, and seemed to make a decision. Tanya asked Ning Zhiqian about Wan Liuzhen's whereabouts, and only then did Ning Zhiqian recall the bouquet of flowers he had seen the night before. Wan Liuzhen came to the airport, having decided to divorce him. As she packed her luggage, he sat in a chair. She imagined that Ning Zhiqian would come over, hug her, and beg her not to leave. In reality, Ning Zhiqian remained seated, even at the moment of farewell, never making a move to embrace her. He just sat there. Wan Liuzhen returned to the school, a place filled with their memories, but everything had changed. Ning Zhiqian often looked up at the stars, feeling an emptiness in his heart. Years later, Wan Liuzhen, now a doctor, arrived in Africa. She noticed the bullet holes on the car, which made her a bit uneasy. The vehicle wobbled on the muddy road, surrounded by swirling dust. The driver was an enthusiastic person, sharing interesting stories throughout the journey. Suddenly, gunshots rang out. The driver calmly continued driving and reassured Wan Liuzhen that they wouldn't harm civilians. Just as he finished speaking, a bullet shattered the glass, and the driver was shot. The situation was urgent, so Wan Liuzhen quickly performed an on-the-spot surgery to remove the bullet. However, halfway through, a group of people surrounded them, intending to kill the driver. Wan Liuzhen rushed over, pleading for the injured driver to be taken to a hospital. Without a word, they took Wan Liuzhen away. Ning Zhiqian, who arrived in a hurry, learned from the dashcam footage that Wan Liuzhen had been kidnapped by the leader of the largest private armed group in the area. Desperate to save her, Ning Zhiqian went to the base alone. Surrounded by armed men, in a very dangerous situation, Ning Zhiqian raised his hands and demanded the leader release Wan Liuzhen. The leader smiled, doubting that their relationship was as simple as it seemed. Ning Zhiqian admitted that Wan Liuzhen was his ex-wife. When Wan Liuzhen saw Ning Zhiqian, her former husband after all these years, she showed no surprise. The leader had kidnapped Wan Liuzhen to have her treat as people. At the camp, Wan Liuzhen saw a statue of Ning Zhiqian's mother, which made her feel disoriented. Ning Zhiqian took her to a room, reminding her to call him if anything happened. Wan Liuzhen had already deleted his phone number on the day of their divorce. While she was taking a shower, the water suddenly stopped. She had no choice but to call Ning Zhiqian for help. Ning Zhiqian teased her about her good memory. He then took her to the river. Though they sat far apart, they chatted easily, as if no time had passed. When Ning Zhiqian learned that Wan Liuzhen was now in neurosurgery, he couldn't help but smile. He remembered how she used to be afraid to even touch a frog. After 6 years apart, Ning Zhiqian asked Wan Liuzhen if he had become better or worse. For a long time, Wan Liuzhen didn't reply. When Ning Zhiqian turned to look, he quickly ran over to her. He pulled Wan Liuzhen up, startling her into standing quickly. They were both soaked, and the atmosphere between them took on a slightly ambiguous tone. Ning's mother passed away in a car accident on her way to a medical consultation. Ning Zhiqian chose to come to Africa for humanitarian aid partly because his mother had been here. All of Wan Liuzhen's patients had been properly arranged, and she decided to return to China. Before leaving, She didn't plan to say goodbye to Ning Jiqian. However, after getting into the car, she discovered that the driver was Ning Jiqian. Despite having just finished an all-night surgery, Ning Jiqian insisted on personally driving her to the airport. The car sped down the road and soon arrived at the airport. Looking at Ning Jiqian, who had fallen asleep, a hint of sadness appeared on Ruan Luzhing's face. As they were about to part ways, Ruan Luzhing reached out to say goodbye. Ning Jiqian gently pushed her luggage forward as his way of parting. Suppressing the turmoil in her heart, Ruan Luzhing pretended to stay calm as she walked ahead. However, after 6 years apart in this unexpected reunion, she couldn't help but turn around. Her eyes filled with reluctance as she looked back at Ning Jiqian. Is there still a chance for them to be together?